10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this July 2nd, 2018 evening. And Chris, I'm trying to figure out how many times I've said that intro over the since 2009, February 2009.
Funny, I thought of it today. How's that? How crazy is that?
You did, really? That's interesting.
Yep. I thought of it because I thought we were doing the show at midnight.
Right.
And I think we've been doing the show for since 2010, or I've been doing the show with you since 2010 or 2009, 10, and I've done it from Spain, I've done it from Dubai, I've done it from many times from Australia, I've done it from Brazil, I've done it from Curacao, I've done it from Malta, I've done it from Italy.
Yeah, I've done it from all over the place too. It's crazy, right? This is our 10th year, so figure when we finish the 10th year, that'll be, we do 52 shows a year because we never miss, right?
Yeah. Times
10 years, so that would be 520 shows we will have completed, which is crazy. Think about it. How many hours of our life? They say you only have so many hours. They try to figure out because
I always think of that too because you sleep half.
You sleep half. Yeah. Well, we don't sleep half of it, but some people do.
Supposed to.
You're supposed to. Yeah. You're supposed to. But that's a lot of intros we've done on this thing already.
I think I'm damaging my brain from a lack of sleep.
I think so too.
I wonder all the time. I wonder if I go to bed really late. I get up really early,
Me too.
And then I force myself during the day to concentrate, which I'm good at. I can force it. But I think, what damage am I doing long-term?
I think that's why I can't remember anything. Because I think that I'm not solidifying memories. That's what you do when you sleep. Your body it's kind of like, you're downloading the hard drive when you're sleeping. Your brain is learning all the stuff that you learned during the day. It's kind of putting it into permanent memory. It's replacing neurotransmitters in the brain. Obviously, it's repairing muscle if you work out. You and I don't do that as much anymore. And it's doing all those little housekeeping features. And when you only sleep a couple hours, you don't really get to do that stuff. And so I think that, you start declining mentally a little bit. Either that or I'm actually becoming my dad, which I don't know if I told you, but my father fell. He fell again. It was almost the 1 year anniversary of the last time he fell, and he had to have the hip redone on the left side. He fell on the right side this time, and he broke the femur, his femur in 4 places.
My father broke his femur about 3 years ago. Yeah,
That's
never
right.
healed.
That's right.
Never healed.
Oh, it didn't? They didn't do surgery on him?
They did surgery, but it didn't heal right. He didn't have therapy. He wouldn't do the therapy, too stubborn.
Right.
Wouldn't really get out to walk to strengthen it. So he's confined to a wheelchair.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
My father, the guy came in and he did the surgery, and it was 6 hours my dad was under. And he looks like, if you saw the x-ray, he looks like, seriously, the $6 million man. He's got they basically figured, you know what? His bone is not going to be strong enough. We'll just give him a metal bone, basically. They just put a plate the whole length of his bone, and they wired it all together. They replaced the implants. So now he's got another. So now he's got basically 2. He got 2 new implants now, one on each side now. And it's all metal and screws and stuff like that. So the doctor even told me, because there's no way he could break this again. It's impossible. He said he could break other things, but he's not breaking this anymore. So I said, well, that's good. And the doctor was really cool, intimate, really cared about my dad. He was like, I don't want him over medicating your father. He shouldn't be, drooling in the corner over there. I'm going to give him the weekend off because he seemed pretty rezonked by the surgery. But Monday I'm pushing him hard. I said, do it. He goes, I want him walking. There's no reason why he should be sitting, confined to a wheelchair. This guy's got to walk. He's strong. He may not have a memory left, but he should be moving around. I said, well, good. I'm in favor of that. Push him as hard as you want. I don't care. He won't remember anyway. I said, it's not like he can say, oh, that fucking doctor, like he would normally say, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. He doesn't remember. How did the day go? I don't know. It was great. I said, okay, good. And then the nurses will be like, "Oh, your father was cursing up a storm." Meanwhile, he's been in a good mood because he hasn't done anything yet. They're like, "Oh, your father's so pleasant." I'm like, "Wait till you guys get him up for physical therapy. He won't be so pleasant anymore."
No, have good days and bad.
Yeah, well, the problem, here's the problem with my dad. They come into his room to bring him to a meal. They're like, "All right, Sal, you got to get up. We're going to the meal." "I can't get up," and they got to get 3 people in there to lift him up. No, I'm like, "Dad, you can't stand up." He's like, "Oh, no, I'm too weak." Then we'll leave, and they'll put him in the recline back so that he can't get up on his own. They have a bed alarm there, and he fucking climbs out of the chair somehow, and he's on the fucking floor and breaks his leg. How the fuck did he get up? He couldn't get up with 3 people helping him. He climbed out of a recliner on his own and fell on the floor. So
that's the way it is.
He's playing possum. He's not so injured as he'd let us lead on to believe. That's the problem.
Well,
but he can't remember. He can't remember. All right, I got a lot of silly things to talk about. This coming weekend, we have a big weekend. We have 2 big shows. We have the Chicago Pro Show. Obviously, Sergio Oliva Jr. returning to his hometown to try to win the title there. Was there any reason that he did the show other than that? Because theoretically, New York was probably a bigger show in terms of titles. A lot of people would have thought, well, Sergio could have gone to the Arnold or something bigger than that. Why to Chicago?
Well, you have to backtrack to New York first. The first one was New York. Why New York? Because
that's a huge show. Yeah.
Well, the New York was Sergio won the Nationals, and I went backstage just to congratulate him, whatever, and he saw Steve Weinberger, and he promised Steve, I'm going to do your show first.
Right.
And so that's why he ended up in New York, and then Chicago was the natural transition from back to his hometown. I think that's part of it.
Gotcha.
His, he grew up in Chicago. He has his roots in Chicago, although he moved out to Gold's in Venice and Los Angeles area. It just, it's in the cards, it seems, for him.
And how is he looking?
He looks good. He looks, I'd say he's, bigger than he's been, and I think his condition is pretty much spot on to where it should be, a few days out. Mm-hmm. And, he's put in the work. He's done the giant sets with Milos. No, but he did work with Milos.
In the gym? Okay.
Yeah, and I think that benefited him.
Isn't Milos in San Diego, though?
Yeah, but Sergio would drive down.
Wow. That's not a short drive.
No, he wouldn't do it daily. I think he'd he'd train with him he'd do one back workout his way, and then,
gotcha.
He'd go Milos.
Which is probably smarter, because if you train
I think he'd do two body parts. He'd do back twice by himself, and then go see Milos. Chest twice, then go see Milos. Legs twice by himself, and then go see Milos. So every third workout would be with Milos. I'm almost positive.
That's smart, because then at least he's not being overtrained by Milos,
No,
because then Milos will be like, "Oh, you need to do the insulin routine." Yeah. This is just a good way to shock his body, I guess, right?
Yeah. And it gives him a different, shocks his body, gives his body a different perspective. And, I mean, he trains with a lot of volume anyway.
Well, with his genetics, and I'm sure his dad trained like that, too. It works.
Yes, tons of volume. I only know that because I once trained some people who were good friends with Sergio. This business couple, this is 25 years ago. And they were close with Sergio, and they said he did crazy amounts of volume and ate a lot of donuts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They said he would eat 3 or 4 donuts before he trained. This is off season, then they just trained set after set after set after set. So that was his pre-workout. But before they had pre-workout, drinks or something, Sergio Senior would, according to them, would have 2, 3, 4 donuts off season and then go train.
Well, you're into the muffins. We should make a performance pre-workout muffin or something.
I almost took a picture of a muffin in Walmart the other day and posted on my Instagram to see what people's comments would be.
They love when you talk about muffins. They think it's
well, what they don't know is you gotta pop some D-ball with them to make them work.
Right. And some of these guys would probably put some marijuana in it too. It's funny. The Chicago Pro Show is another one of these Wings of Strength sponsored shows. and they're having it's interesting. They're doing something unique that they've never done. I don't even know how they got clearance to do this, but I'm sure Jermanian cleared it because probably no one cares about women's bodybuilding anymore. So they're having an amateur women's bodybuilders from anywhere in the world can come do this. It's the second annual Wings of Strength Miss International Classic IFBB Pro League qualifier. So it's, in other words, if you win this,
that's a big title. Let's say that. How many words is that?
it's a lot of words. A lot of words. Wings of Strength Miss International Classic IFBB Professional League Pro qualifier. So
That's like 5 lines.
yeah, if you're a women's bodybuilder, if you want to be in women's bodybuilding and you compete in the show and you win, okay, you're in basically. So a class win will award you. So not even just the overall, but if you win your class, you win an IFBB Professional League Pro card. And this will take place on Friday, and then on Saturday you can actually compete in the IFBB Pro League Women's Bodybuilding event, the Pro Women's Bodybuilding event. And if you actually win that, you will qualify for the Wings of Strength Rising Phoenix World Championships, which is basically replaced the Miss Olympia, which takes place on September 8th in Phoenix, Arizona. So, big weekend for women's bodybuilding if there are any out there. I tell all the women's physique competitors that I help or that I advise, do the bodybuilding. Get your freaking pro card that way. It's freaking easier. No one does bodybuilding anymore. You might as well, if you have a decent amount of muscle, you can basically edge that line or walk that fine line, and you probably can sneak in and get a pro card, because I think I'm seeing a lot of these women bodybuilders are big, but they're just not in shape, a lot of them, and they're getting pro cards because there's just not enough women competing. And look, no one knows how you're going to get a pro card. Who cares? Get your pro card and then do women's physique. You know what I mean? You don't have to do the women's bodybuilding. But I will say one thing for these Wings of Strength guys, they're giving out a lot of money.
They always do. They always come through.
Thank God. I mean, Tim Gardner wouldn't be able to hold all these shows he's holding without the Wings of Strength. I don't know what the business model is, but it's good for bodybuilding. I love when people give back. Obviously they have money, and they're not afraid to use it and hand it out, and they're certainly not getting it back. Okay, so they're doing it out of generosity. It's kind of like a Bill Gates type of thing, It's the women. It's funny. Women's bodybuilding has like benefactors, None of the other divisions do.
It's always had benefactors.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right.
It's always had people not on the fringe, but people who have nothing to do with working out or very little to do with working out, who love the sport. It's weird.
Right.
And there's always been those people around who would, bankroll certain athletes, and sometimes people think, oh, there's something funny going on there. And a lot of times it's not.
No, you're right.
It's very, very odd. There's always been, who was a huge female bodybuilding fan is David Lee Roth.
I didn't know that.
Oh, he loved it.
Really?
Yeah. Because he had Tegan Clive in a video.
Yes, he did. You're right.
So she introduced him to, all the other female bodybuilders, and he loved it.
Interesting. See? It's giving me some trivia that I didn't know about. Dee Schneider's into bodybuilding. I know he had a gym in Long Island for many years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Many, many years he had a gym there.
Dee Schneider from the...
Twisted Sister.
Yeah, Twisted Sister.
Yeah, he works out pretty regularly. He's still back there. I think he's still over there on Long Island, to be honest with you. I don't think he doesn't own the gym anymore, but he still lives there. Because my friend has an auto body shop. He brings his cars in there all the time. He's like a regular dude. I like that. He could be a star when he's in Hollywood and when he has to go to these events, and then every day he's just like a regular guy. Puts on his sunglasses, fucking ties his hair back in his ponytail. God bless the guy. He's got a full head of hair still. It's unbelievable.
Is it his hair or is it extension?
I think it's his hair.
Well.
Did you see speaking of fake hair, did you see the latest Kai Greene Beta Badai post? I did a video on it this past week.
That I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Yeah. Beta Badai was insinuating that in 11 weeks, him and Kai Greene are coming for the Sandow, which implied basically that Kai was going to do the Olympia, win the Sandow, and that he was going to somehow be involved.
That ain't gonna happen, but go ahead.
Yeah. So I just did a response video to the post that Bader had put on Instagram, which basically made a lot of waves because people want to see Kai Greene do the show.
Of course they do.
I don't think it's a bad idea if Kai did the show, but I know that
I would demolish. Kai would demolish the popularity contest.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
not that it matters because they're not giving. You know what? I found out more information about.
Wait a minute. It does matter now because if it counts for something,
it doesn't count for anything.
Well,
I found out what at least I think Flex Magazine clarified it on their website. Number one, all the voting is only for the people who are in attendance, the ticket holders. So it has nothing to do with people at home. So the social media crowd is not going to have any input on this at all. So it's a way to sell more tickets, which is good. Give the ticket holders the ability to vote. Secondly, it'll basically crown a people's champion of people watching the show in the audience, which is fine. It will have no bearing on the placings. I can guarantee you that. But once again, it's a good. I think that it's whoever came up with the idea. I don't know if it was Robin or someone else. It's a good idea. Why not? Let the people in attendance vote. I don't know how they can secure that or make that happen. How do you know if the people are actually in the audience? Are they going to have little things on the seats to push?
Tabulate. What was that show that the audience used to tabulate? That was on the dating game, right?
I don't know. I remember.
The dating game with the former. He was a former client of mine. I used to do a diet for.
Who?
Chuck Willery.
Oh, right. He was from. He used to train at the Gold's Venice. I remember seeing him out there.
I just said he was. I used to do a nutrition plan for him.
That's funny. He was very. He looked very vain to me. Was he very vain?
No, he was very down to earth.
No, I mean when I say vain, very into his looks and how his presentation and.
Not really. No, I mean.
Because he was a good-looking guy. He was always well groomed and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot more wrinkles in real life than.
How's that for a guy who made money just freaking running a dating game?
Yeah, but they would, if you remember, that was like high tech then. The audience got a chance to tabulate and vote who they wanted to go out with, the guy or the girl. Right,
but there's no way the Olympia people are rigging up every freaking chair in that place. There's like 10,000 chairs in that place, and they're all like fold-out chairs. There's no way. I don't know. I'd love to know how they do. I got to contact someone who knows how they're going to do this thing, but. The point is, Kai could win the Open Olympia. I mean, without not the people's Olympia, he can have get the votes of the judges even and win the Olympia.
The best prep for Kai would be a shotgun prep.
Right. Don't over diet. Don't overthink it. Just
don't because
6 weeks.
He's more than enough.
Yeah.
Because you know what, you just nailed it, Dave. How many times I haven't said that on this show for a long time. You're always right, but. Kai in a 6x7 42-week prep. Listen, Cody Montgomery had a 7-week off season after 3 years, and he honestly prepped 8 weeks off season, pre-contest, got ready for a show.
Kai looks great though all the time. He looks great now. I see the pictures he posts.
So if he's got genetics, Kai could wing it together, and just hit his peak with 6 weeks going, because he's already big.
Right. If Kai Greene called you up and said, "Chris, would you work with me?" What's the answer?
See, Kai, well, I would. No, of course I would.
Oh, you would? Okay.
Yeah, because it'd be fun.
Yeah, that's true. It's not that hard. I'm sure.
I'd probably just tell him, just continue to eat what you're doing, and, that's it.
Exactly. Don't change it. Kai, don't change anything.
He'd probably send me pictures and I'd say, you look like you could win today. So.
I mean, he's like, Chris, I'm eating three muffins a day. Well, just keep it. Just don't do it. Don't change it.
Instead of eating fried chicken, I'd say, or fried fish, or, hamburgers.
Go to San Diego and do giant sets with Milos for the next fucking 3 weeks. No cardio.
He probably could go with Milos, train 3 hours a day, eat like there's no tomorrow, and be ripped.
Right, yeah, but as long as he doesn't take any insulin before, during, or after the workout with Milos. Oh, my God. I'd love to see him in there. I don't think he'll do it because, I know someone who told me that they offered him $100,000 to do the show, and they wouldn't do it.
I'm sure they've offered him money.
Not anyone who runs the sport. I'm saying like sponsors that had offered him $100,000. Look, you do the show, $100,000. He wouldn't do it.
It's they should pony up 200.
You know what? Bader is not like a liar, though. There's always some truth to everything that he hints about. So maybe they're planning something. Who knows? Here's the question: would they give? I mean, they'd be crazy not to, but would they give Kai an invite to the Olympia because he has not qualified?
Yes, they would.
You think they would?
Yes.
I mean, they'd be crazy not to. I mean,
I think they'd be nuts not
sell
to.
a million tickets.
I
But for them.
think it would be the biggest mistake. No matter what, you know what? There's a saying called "Let bygones be bygones."
Yeah.
And no matter how personally hurt Kai has been, or the Olympia people have been, you know what? In 3 years, you know, the clock is ticking, and there's going to be a point where it's an impossibility.
Well, because he's not. He's going to
Because
decline.
he'll be too old.
Yeah, he'll decline.
Yeah,
right.
or his waist will get too wide, or
Right.
he'll lose something, you know, or tear something. So for him to be in the Olympia would be a grand slam in terms of promotional ability
That's what I
to the
think.
Olympia. Bigger
And
than it would.
it's still early enough, and it's not like I don't even know if the Olympia deadline has passed where they have to sign the contracts yet. So I mean, if he's
you can make the rules. Listen, when it's your show, you can make it's like someone goes like this. You know, when a company says, "Well, we have our budget." You know, budgets are made to be broken,
Right.
and rules are made to be broken.
what if
And
they said to
there
him?
always are exceptions to rules.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some people deserve to get special invites.
Right. Well, what if they said to him, "Okay, you can do the Olympia, but you got to qualify. There's a couple shows still coming right before the Olympia."
Oh, that'd be
Can you imagine that?
insane. That's insane.
That's the Jeff. That's what they pulled on Jeff King, isn't it?
Well, I mean, no, with Jeff. Yeah, but Jeff.
Tell everyone the Jeff King story. We should do a separate video on the Jeff King issue. Jeff King was a freak. Everyone knows him as the guy with the biggest neck, and you know he was a freak before his time. He came around the time Haney was just coming out, and wasn't everyone billing him and Haney as like going to be the next big battle up on stage.
Yeah, that next big battle.
So what
Right.
happened? How come he didn't get a pro card? There was a whole controversial thing about didn't they start the USA Championships with him in mind? They wanted to make him the first champion?
Well, I don't know all the details, and some of it is conjecture and speculation,
Right.
because I don't know the facts, all of them. But I do know that 83, he wins the Mr. America, which is an AAU show, and Haney wins was it 83 Haney wins the
82,
national?
I think.
82.
The
Okay.
first NPC national. They had just started the NPC. They had broken with the AAU.
Did Jeff win the America in 83?
I'm not sure when Jeff won it.
Okay, so he either won in 82 or 83, but at that time, the Mr. America was still a big deal when Jeff won it. It really was a big deal.
Right.
Beautiful title, Mr. America.
Sure.
Isn't it? I mean, at the time, it was for quite a while. But so, just the odd part is Joe got wind of Jeff.
Joe
And
Weeder.
Yes, of course, he went crazy over him.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, promised him the world, and then wanted him to get into the Olympia.
Sure.
That's what I was told. He wanted him in the Olympia. And, I think, whoever was running the IFBB at the time said, fine, do the Olympia, but you got to qualify. And Jeff was kind of, of the idea that, I'm like the best in the United States.
Right.
But there's an asterisk next to it, right? Because at that time...
It was AAU.
Yeah, and you couldn't say you're the best in the United States because you didn't beat, the people who just won the Nationals.
Right, but you know what the weird thing was? Because I'll stop you and then you can finish the story. They gave pro cards to other people in other organizations who won the Mr. Universe and stuff like that
they did.
in other
Yeah,
countries. It was a
did.
United States thing.
Yeah, they did. And so, the weird part simply was that Joe wanted just Jeff in the Olympia. Like, just
Right.
invite him.
Right.
I think Joe was like, it's my Olympia. I can give him the special invite.
Right. No, they didn't even want to even worry about the pro card. They were going to give him the pro card and give him the invite to the Olympia.
Yeah.
Right.
But there was pushback, and they thought keyword maybe, that it was a bad precedent, that you just, this
Right.
guy won the Mr. America and you're bringing him right into the Olympia, which would have been great because, talk about excitement.
Sure.
And I think he would have done extremely well because, like I said on the previous show, his career came to a halt due to a car accident, not to
Right.
anything really.
Right.
So that's that.
So they wanted to get him in, but didn't they? The story I heard, and you know better because I know Bob Grushkin was helping him. The story I heard was that they wanted him to do the USA. and Bob was going to said I think that they were going to do the USA, but they wanted him to qualify to do the USA, and that's where they said they didn't want to do it. Is that true, or am I making this up?
I don't know. I don't know about
That's
that.
what I heard. It wasn't that they. Maybe you're right because you probably know better than I do. I thought that he was willing to do the USA to win the pro card and then do the Olympia, obviously with the special invite, but that they wanted him to qualify to even do the USA. And wasn't that the year they made the USA? Because the Nationals were in 82, the first one, but I think the first USA was 83, right?
Yeah, and that's the first year they made the USA pro card.
Right. I don't know if they even had it before that. I don't remember. It was before my time. So maybe they created the USA in 83 or something like that. Or maybe it was 82. Maybe they gave, like you said, the pro card in 83. And Jeff was supposed to be the first champion to get the pro card. Who became the first one? David Hawk or something like that?
Yeah, maybe it was. God, you have a tremendous memory. Yeah, I think it was David Hawk.
Yeah. There was a guy who won before that, but I don't think he got a pro card for that. Was that Phil? I don't even remember. Who that
Williams?
was it Phil Williams? I don't think it was. I could be making that up. But it's interesting how these things happen, and obviously we never got to see the Jeff King Lee Haney showdown, which would have been great. You think Jeff could have beat Haney? Because Haney wasn't that big when he first started. Back in what did he win 94 Olympia?
Yeah, I think put it right. Jeff was a better bodybuilder when Jeff won the America than when Haney won the Nationals. My opinion. Mm-hmm. It's 2 years later. I think it was Haney's second Olympia. He made the big jump.
Right.
So Haney really got a lot thicker. The first Olympia he looked good. I think he placed third. But it was the second Olympia, the one that he won, that he made a big jump in size. But Jeff had already had this. Jeff was already like that big as Haney in 83.
Sure. All right, so I got Jeff King's record I pulled up here. In 82, he won the Collegiate Mr. America overall. 83 won the Mr. America. Okay, so the medium, tall class, and then the overall. He also won the Eastern USA Championships, believe it or not. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
He won the overall and the Mr. Universe and the NABA Mr. Universe. He won the overall too, all in '83. So that was his year. That must have been the year they wanted to get him in the Olympia.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The following year, '84, he won the World Championships in NABA, tall class. And then in '85, he must have had the car accident after that because '85 he was second at the World Championships in WABA. Yeah,
that's when I think '84 he had the car accident.
Right.
Yeah,
he still competed up till '88. A lot of guys didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing as well though.
He was doing terrible.
So crazy. Yeah, it's but it just goes to show you, man, missed opportunities, man. What a clash that would have been.
You know what? It's funny, missed opportunities, Dave. But I'm the worst when people say, "Should I do this?" I say yes. You know what I mean?
You're
like,
smart, yeah.
Well, because I always say, you know what? You're going to be. How old are you, Dave? 50.
Yeah.
You're going to be 50, and you know what? You're not going to be 31, and you're going to be 50. And you're going to say, "I should have."
Right. No. Yeah. I don't live my life like that. I always do things too, but
you got to take advantage of your youth more than anything.
Well, a lot of people thought Cody was crazy to do the Cody Montgomery was crazy to do the USA. The first show after his team national wins, and the guy won the freaking show.
People honestly. So people were like thinking, well, if he breaks top 10 this year, and geez, top 10. I remember sending pictures of Jose, and Jose said this guy's got a good chance to win. That was like, 6 weeks out, 7 weeks out.
And you know what? He could have done the show the year after, and he might have not won, right? Because you have to be at the right place at the right time sometimes.
You have to be in the right place at the right time.
Kai is the worst at doing that. Don't you ever notice that? He's always at the wrong place at the wrong time. Actually, Cedric's probably the worst at that. But Kai always shows up at the Olympia off a little bit. He's never timed it perfectly to win that Olympia, and he certainly had the physique to win the Olympia. I mean, let's face it.
Well, part of it maybe goes back to a 6-week prep versus like a 12 or 15-week prep, because once you're in shape and you have time left, it's all downhill from there. If you're in shape, right, and it's 5 weeks out, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah, you're right. I think, who knows, Kai could come back and be his best because, he had rest. Think that sometimes rest is good for a physique. He's been traveling. Yeah, you can tell he hasn't stopped training. You can tell that he's still eating, well. He's in good shape. He's got all his muscle. Maybe he needed the rest. Maybe he'll come back and he'll be great. I don't know. But
you know what, Dave? I must just stop there because he might end up sending you a cease and desist order.
like Jeremy Buendia's lawyer. I get this FedEx from Jeremy Buendia, his lawyer, who's upset. Boston Lloyd had said on the TV show that he sold Jeremy Buendia drugs back in the day when they used to compete together and they lived in the same town, which was true because Boston's got the text messages and everything like that to prove. But they want me to take the videos down and everything like that. But which I might have done. But the second stipulation was that I could never ever say anything disparaging against Jeremy Buendia, which obviously would be open to their interpretation of what disparaging is, right? Imagine that. I can never say a word. I can never say like Jeremy Buendia can come and like throw a fucking dead fish through my window, and I can never say Jeremy's a fucking scumbag for doing that because I'll sign this. They want me to sign something.
Michael Jackson's lawyer used to send out threatening letters to people in the media who didn't refer to him as the king of pop, Michael Jackson.
Really?
I'm
Wow.
dead serious.
That's crazy. Blackman was notorious for sending out letters. I'll tell you a good story about Blackman. When I worked there at the time, one of our main competitors at MD was Bodybuilding.com because Bodybuilding.com covered bodybuilding back then, and so.
Oh, what the irony! A website called Bodybuilding covering bodybuilding.
So Blackman had exclusivity on all these athletes. He was paying everyone, right? This is when he actually paid. When he had Victor and this one under, and somehow Bodybuilding.com was bamboozling these guys into doing videos, like training videos on their website, and under the guise that it was like for their supplement company that they were representing. Like for Victor, it was MHP, but it was really nothing to do with MHP. It was a training video. I said, Steve, they're violating his contract, and they're tricking him into doing this. You got to. He's like, I'll send a cease and desist letter. All right, so he had the letter sent out to Bodybuilding.com 3 days ago, but no one responds. I said, Steve, they're not responding. You got to take further action. This video is still up. It's getting a lot of hits. We have exclusivity. You got to enforce it. Yeah, he would never do it. So they were all idle threats, basically. He'd have, because he didn't want to spend the money to go forward with the legal action.
Yeah, well, that's a typical.
Because it's expensive.
Yeah, well, that's a typical. That's what lawyers do. I mean.
But he would send out these letters all the time, and everyone would just throw them in the garbage. So when I left, when he fired me, he sent me a cease and desist because I was using his Parabanal pictures, like on RxMuscle that they had taken of me, my own pictures, my pictures that he took of me. I put a couple up or whatever. And he was sending. So I don't remember who was getting all worried about it. I said, "Are you kidding me? I know him. He's never going to do anything about this." I said, I fucking pissed on him, threw him in the garbage. I said, because I knew his whole shtick already. I knew he's sending me a cease and desist after. He said, I watched him send out 400 of them and never enforce any of them. So who knows? There's no way I'll sign that. There's no way I'll agree to the terms because obviously no one's going
to leave it up and let his lawyer, who's keep sending you his, fancy letters.
Right. My lawyer will be handling it too, but that's neither here nor there. First of all, I'm not the one who said anything. He can go after Boston Lloyd if he wants to. But Boston, the problem is when Boston posts up the text messages of him, saying that that Jeremy asked him for what steroids he wanted, then that's probably going to make the situation worse, wouldn't you think?
What's Boston have? He has actual text messages?
Yeah, or text and emails and stuff like that. So it's probably not. He should have probably just let it die. You know what I mean? Because no matter what crap is out there, like no matter what anyone says about you or posts about you, you could be a murderer. After 6 months, no one remembers anyway. You know what I mean?
People don't even remember 3 days with the information that's out there.
The funny thing is that I reached out to, before I even had Boston Lloyd on the show, I reached out to Jeremy. I wanted to get him on and to clarify, and I even told him via text, via an Instagram messenger, which I never used, by the way, because that's the only way I knew how to get in touch with him. I said, Jeremy, get on. I said, I think people are misrepresenting what you said. I actually was taking his side. Even when we talked about it on the radio show, you were pretty vehement about the fact that it was disrespectful. And I'm like, well, maybe I was trying to play devil's advocate because I said, maybe he was just misquoted. Basically, he didn't really mean it in a malicious sense. So here I am defending the guy, and I'm getting a letter from his lawyer, telling me I can't even say like the guy's fucking shoelaces are fucking tied wrong. We were insulted by that comment that Dave Palumbo made about Jeremy's shoelaces.
Well, maybe you should have him on.
I will have him on.
Tell his lawyer that you reject the cease and desist
right. But
instead
voice.
You give him voice to be able to clarify his comments and to respond to Boston Lloyd.
Yeah, it's probably. Good thing.
Have him if it's untrue, if it is not true, then who better to defend himself than himself?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Come on and say, Boston, stop lying.
Right. But you know what the truth is? Who cares? Everyone knows that all the people in our industry use some kind of, anabolic steroid.
Don't.
I mean, it's
they
not.
Don't.
It's not like
neither do the baseball players or the football players or the hockey players.
The worst thing you could ever do.
What were the children?
The worst thing you could ever do is like fucking get Boston Lloyd pissed off at you because he knows he will say anything.
Everything.
Yeah, he'll tell everything. And the guy's he's like Nasser. He's got like a fucking photographic memory.
Dave, I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say he's got that Nasser photographic memory. He
remembers every detail of everything.
He can tell you what the third meal of the Contra Costa show that he did.
Yeah.
On the Wednesday night, what he ate and what he drank with it, and
he could probably tell you like what Jeremy paid him in and how much change he gave him.
Of course, what color shirt he was wearing and where they met.
Right. Unbelievable. Oh, damn, Chris. We can't make this stuff up. These guys hand me material. It's unbelievable. All right, so we got the Wings and we got Sergio. Who else is doing the show? I know Justin Rodriguez is going.
I don't know because
they're still arguing with each other. And Sergio
shows in 1 week. I mean, one weekend.
Yeah, but I think they split it up because they got the Vancouver Pro show. They got Classic Physique up there, Classic Men's. Do they have Open too up there?
They have Open up there. Yeah, they have Classic. They have Open. They have Chicago has 212.
Wow.
Chicago has Open.
I wonder why they decided to do them both on the same weekend. You know what it is? They have too many shows. That's what it is. But nothing was taking place this past weekend. I don't know why they didn't hold it this weekend. One of them should have been this past weekend. I got to get Michelle Crack on the show, too, because Michelle Crack is promoting the Vancouver show. I got to reach out to her. I told her I would get her on the show. We actually have, believe it or not, we have a photographer there at the show. I don't cover shows, but, this guy has been, doing some stuff for us, and he offered to give us the pictures. So I figured, well, I'll take the pictures. So we're going to put up some pictures from Vancouver. I'll do a little wrap. Up.
Have you been to Vancouver?
No, but I hear it's beautiful. I really would have liked to.
Beautiful. Ridiculous.
I still tell people I can't go there because I've committed a felony over 10 years ago. I could definitely get in there. I know even Rick Collins told me he can get me in there. They wanted me to actually do a seminar up there, some kind of like seminar in Canada this year. And I just can't travel. I get yelled at for going to the gym twice a week. I can't travel. It's too difficult with the kids.
We've started our trade war with them, by the way. You see that? Today's Canada.
What is that? What's going on with that trade war?
Trump has put, I think, tariffs on steel, milk, and I don't know. And they've retaliated with tariffs on soup, chocolate, and anyways. I think we did like $13 billion worth of tariffs on goods and goods coming from Canada. And in response, Canada has put $13 billion on the United States products coming into there.
I'll tell you, they already have that on there because every time I send my freaking species stuff there, these poor guys have to pay and girls have to pay a fortune on import fees.
Well,
England's worse. England's bad too. This must go back to the Boston Tea Party with fucking England with the taxation. I can't say. I feel terrible for these UK guys. I got to give them like rock bottom pricing because I feel so bad on they got to pay and duties.
Yeah, $400 for a can of
protein.
Protein powder.
Yeah, you send them a jug of protein, they got to pay $50. They got to pay more than the protein cost.
Yeah.
Thank God I got a distributor. Predator Nutrition over there is selling it, so people can. And of course, my friend, what's his name over there, Brian Goddard, BG Sports sells them too. So I do have representation now in the UK, but before it was terrible because all these stupid import fees on everything over there. We don't charge. If we order stuff from England, we don't have to pay any duties. I don't think we pay duties on anything, do we? Have you ever paid duties on anything you imported from another country?
I don't import apartment buildings, so
That's true. I did bring in some snakes once, some boa constrictors from Holland, and it was a very minor amount of money. I had to pay just some handling fee. It wasn't really like a tariff or anything like that. So I don't know. I guess that's why it's great to live in the United States. Everyone's always complaining about Trump and this person and that person, but we have it really good here. We don't realize how good we have it here until you go abroad and see what they're dealing with over there. All our bullshit here doesn't seem so bad sometimes.
well, it depends, I guess, on where you are.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think everyone thinks we're just a nation of complainers here because we have free speech and all this stuff. That's what we pride ourselves on. So everyone complains about everything. But the truth is, we probably have it better than everyone else. We just have the ability to complain about the fact that if we don't like something, and we don't have to worry about anyone coming to our house and arresting us. So don't complain so much. You can voice your disapproval, but understand that you probably got it a lot better than most of these other people do. I think it's open to all athletes worldwide. And it's free to the public. The health expo they have.
Which one? You talking about
Vancouver? I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
Open to all athletes worldwide. I love the fact that these new IFBB Pro qualifiers now are all open to the world. You could even you could even go there from the United States and compete if you want. Can never do. You remember that? You could never have done that in the past.
Yeah, no, great. I think it's great.
I think what Jim Mannion did was tremendous. It really opened up the ability to compete. Think about it. You could go to China and compete in a pro qualifier if you want. Now you might not do that well. I don't know. There could be some home field advantage over there, but you can do it. Now you could never do that before.
So we are how far removed from the split between Mannion and Raphael?
Well, I think the Olympia will be 1 year, right? Or something like that, right?
Yeah.
After the Olympia.
And who's winning?
I don't know. I think they're probably both winning because I think Jim Mannion's the winner because I think that the prestige aspect of what's going on is in Jim Mannion's corner because the prestige is he's got the IFBB Pro League, which is the Mr. Olympia.
Although I guess I was talking about at the pro level because that would be the litmus test.
I don't think Raphael's losing any money. If you're asking me, he's probably making more money now that he's in control of his own division.
Well, who won? You know what? I never figured out who won I call it the Raphael Arnold Brazil.
I don't know. Obviously, that tells you how important it was.
Exactly.
But
isn't it funny?
I
Because
guarantee you,
if it was a quote Mannion Arnold Brazil, would know like I'm not saying Kai won, but it'd be like Rolly won or
I'll tell you something. Look,
won.
Rafael Santoja is a businessman. Yeah, he loves bodybuilding, but he's a businessman first, and he's a control freak. So, does he do a good job over there overseas? Yeah, of course he does. But that's his league. He doesn't want anyone telling him what to do. Jim Mannion was in charge of the pro league. He didn't like that, and so he's doing his own thing. He's probably making more money now because he's completely in control of both the pro and the amateur division, and he doesn't care about the prestige. Jim Mannion cares about the whole prestige thing because that's he wants to make money too, of course, but the Mr. Olympia, he's leaving a legacy. Now he's running the amateur and pro league. And when he's no longer here, he'll probably outlive us all, probably, more than likely. But when he's no longer here, he's going to leave a legacy behind him. And I think that Joe Weider and Ben Weider would have been proud, of what he's doing. So it was tough to break with the IFB Amateur League and Raphael, but it probably was for the best for the athlete at the end of the day. And I think probably both of them will make more money because now you have two leagues competing. You know what I mean? So there's never a lack of people to pay money to compete. Look at the NPC Team Universe this past weekend, which was run by Steve Weinberg. Over 1,000 competitors, Chris. That's huge. And you can't say, hey, anything about that. That's just an enormous amount of money that is coming into the sport. And I love it.
Like Trump, you dropped the H.
Huge.
You said huge if you play the tape back. Huge.
Oh my God! Yeah,
New York accent way to say it? Huge, or is it?
I always get made fun of. Now that I'm in Florida, my New York accent is being made. When you're in New York, no one makes fun of your New York accent. When you go to Florida, everyone makes fun of your New York accent. Actually, it's really my wife just making fun of my my accent, the way I pronounce words. We have our own little way of saying things. It's funny. I did a Skype consult with this guy the other day for an hour, and he told me he's from the same area that Nathan DeAsher is. I said, how come I understand what the hell you're saying? I can't understand a word Nathan says to me when I interview him. Mm-hmm. He's like, because Nathan has Americanized his British accent. I said, what does that mean? He says he hams it up. He makes it worse. He makes the UK accent worse than it really is. He goes, it's not that bad from where he is. I said, I got to be honest. I don't know half the words. I don't understand that come out of his mouth. I said, I have to fake it when I interview him. I laugh at stuff I don't even know what I'm laughing at. Anyway, they gave out a ton of pro cards at this Team Universe this past weekend. It's amazing. The Team Universe has evolved into like almost like the Masters National now. They have like all these like over 35, over 40 winners. They got over 50, over 60. It's crazy how many freaking people they got doing these shows. And these classes are stacked. It's funny how the Masters bodybuilding competitions are loaded with people. And on the amateur level, on the level of, I guess you could say the open divisions, you have a diminishing numbers. So I guess the old guys are still sticking with bodybuilding. The young guys are going to classic physique. That's the only thing I can think of.
That's the trend. You just nailed it.
Right?
Yeah.
But as people get older, though, they're gonna move into the open because they're gonna evolve into it. No, I don't think. I think the classic guys will do open bodybuilding. Yeah, I think they will. A lot of them will. I actually heard a rumor that Flex Lewis was doing. This was going to be his last year in 212.
I heard that too.
I talked to. We text each other.
You know what? I think I heard it from you, so that doesn't mean I heard it.
No, I don't think I told you that.
Okay, then.
It was from someone else here. It's going around.
Wait you better not. You better get it right because
Flex,
you're a cease and desist letter.
No, because Flex and I actually like each other. Flex actually texted me about something else, and I asked him about that. He was laughing. He's like, don't believe everything you hear. So,
yeah, but it's fun too because it gives us something to talk about.
Of course, that's why he knows that. That's what Flex Lewis is dying. And I know he's probably listening. He listens to everything we do. He's dying to come and be interviewed by me and do every show we have. He'll come on. He'll come on Iron Debate. He's dying. He's got like a gag order on him because he's got this AMI contract, which obviously is good for his reputation, everything like that. And they're representing him, and he's the Mr. Olympia. They won't let him do anything. Pretty much with it. The funny thing is these exclusivity contracts that they have are ridiculous now.
They only include you.
Yeah, it excludes me and Blackman basically. But the funny thing is that they don't do anything with these athletes. Like it's not like they're using Flex like every week. They're doing interviews with him and they give him his own talk show. At least use the fucking guy. Let the guy promote himself.
Well, he don't care if he's getting a check, if it's a decent check.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him. I would take the check too. But the point is, he likes to talk and he has very strong opinions on everything. He's dying to come on the show. Why they wouldn't put a Flex T-shirt on him and let him come on the show and talk and promote the Flex magazine and Muscle and Fitness, I don't know, or AMI, whatever. Put Mr. Olympia on a shirt. We could plug the Mr. Olympia contest every time he comes on.
No.
People want to hear his opinions,
Well,
a lot of Olympia, like Jay would have been a terrible interview while he was Mr. Olympia because he was too politically correct. But Flex comes from like that, he's from Wales. He's got where was he from? Scotland or Wales? I don't remember, but. He's from, I think he's Wales. Welsh. He's Welsh.
He's in Boca Raton now. He's in
Boca Raton. But I could get him to come to my studio. That's how close he is. So, I mean, he's not afraid to. He says what's on his mind. I mean, he's like a Conor McGregor kind of guy, So, he would be a great interview, because he's not afraid to say, "Hey, I wasn't my best this year." He's got like no ego. He's really, really open about the the way it is. But you never hear from him because he's not allowed to say anything and talk to anyone.
No. Well, that's.
It's funny when I read the list of these bodybuilders in the Team Universe who did all these
No, you know them all from back.
Yeah,
in the
I think I competed with a lot of these guys.
Give me an
They're still
example.
going.
Give me 2 or 3 that I would recognize.
I'm looking for some names.
Names.
I know a lot of these because I helped a lot. I got to go to the 50 and over to look for the people that we competed with right now. Now we're in the 50 class, right?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Remember George Thibault?
Nope.
He always had one small leg. I remember that. I competed with him. Let's see. Let's go to over 60. Let's see if there's anyone we know in over 60. The Masters Nationals is better because most of those guys wait for the Masters Nationals. They do the same. It's the same crew every year.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think you would know anyone in this list. I'm looking through it. I know a lot of the guys because I work with a lot of these guys, but I'm trying to see if there's anyone. I think a lot of the guys do wait for the Masters Nationals. I think that the Team Universe is a really good opportunity because a lot of guys don't do it, thinking that they're going to do Masters Nationals, but you'd be crazy not to do it. Our good friend Alessandro Savi was in the show. He was 5th in the 40, men's over 40. He's the guy I went to Italy with, when I was working with Yamamoto and got me in there. He dates Rosetta Motati, our good friends. Love those guys. They're the good people. There's a lot of good people in our sport. There's a lot of shitty people in our sport. They're good people.
Well, even some of the shitty people are actually pretty decent people.
Yeah, I get along with almost
It's
everyone,
true.
except the people who send me cease and desist letters.
Well, some people just have issues.
True. I can't believe how many classes they got. This is crazy. 35 and over. Why would they have 35 and 40 and over? What a racket. I love
35, 35 and over. 35 is pretty damn young.
Right? For a Masters event?
Yeah, I don't consider 35 Masters.
That's
Maybe
why
I'm-
these guys have a tremendous
I myself
opportunity.
I feel like, what's that?
It's a tremendous opportunity for these guys in their 30s to get pro cards. People a lot of times don't want to do it. I want to do the Open. Screw that. Get your pro card. And then worry about it. It's hard enough to get a pro card as it is. Take it any way they'll give it to you. Don't you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. Why not?
I know. I agree. I'm looking at all these. I can't believe how many people were in the show. It's crazy. It's like the women really. It's funny if you would have thought back in 1990 that there would be more women competing than men, people would have laughed at you, right?
Well, which class you?
No, there was only women's bodybuilding back then.
Yeah, I know. So which class?
I'm saying if you would have said, you know what, in 20 years from now, 30 years from now, there'll be more women competing in this sport than men, much more. People would say you're out of your fucking mind because it was all men's bodybuilding. And then you had women bodybuilders, but there wasn't a million of them. Who would have ever anticipated they would have created other classes and bikini and figure? They would have told you were nuts if you would have suggested that.
Yeah.
People thought it was crazy when they started fitness. Remember?
Yeah.
Fitness was supposed to be the answer. It was supposed to be bodybuilding and fitness. Fitness was going to be the toned down version of bodybuilding and routine, so that gives the women something athletically to do.
Well, it was all, yeah.
But of course, not a lot of these women that had great physiques had no skill to do these routines. And that's why they created figure. And then that wasn't enough because the girls didn't want to get that big, and so they had to create bikini. And that's where bikini came from. So,
Dave.
right. And then they had to reboot women's bodybuilding, so they started women's physique. All during this time, where the men were like, "Can you give us one more freaking class?" You gave the women 14 classes. Why can't we get one class?
Give us a pro card for the junior nationals.
Yeah, why can't you give us a pro card at the junior nationals? Exactly. You can go back to that old argument. I can't even read all the names. There's too many names.
No, I know. Thousands.
I was going to read names, and I'm like, dude, I can't. It's just too many.
No, if you read like 10, people are going to email you and say, "How dare you not
skip
mention
me.
me? I was
Skip
second in my class too."
That's right. The San Jose Pro show was this past weekend. San Jose, California. They had a men's physique event. Kyron Holden wins that. Anthony Woods in second place, and Long Wu from China. That's a long trip he took. Placed third. Congratulations. Women's physique, Antoinette Downey from Barbados. We like her. Good physique. She wins. She'll go to the Olympia. Eveline Roca from Brazil in the second position. Eleanor Dobranina from Canada in the third position. Congratulations to those ladies. Who was fourth? Krista Dunn was fourth. Fifth place, Robin Mays. And my client, Kim Jones. Sixth place. Congratulations, Kim. I wanted to mention your name, so I listed off all six. What else was there? There was another show this past weekend, too. I got to go back and see now which shows there were.
You take your son to see The Incredibles yet?
No. My kid can't sit through anything. My son can sit through home videos on the phone. That's what he sits through. How was it?
Not as good as first.
No.
In fact, we went to the movies, and then the very next day we watched The Incredibles. And it's so odd that I was doing dishes, and I've seen that movie so many times. I know like every line in the movie, and I haven't seen the movie in like 8 years.
Now, have you seen it so many times because your kids watched it?
Yeah, we watched it
them?
together.
Okay.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
I like it. It's even if you're an adult, it's a good movie.
Oh yeah, that's of course.
Every time I watch the movie now, all I think about is Andy Hammond because that's Andy Hammond like always dresses up as Mr. Incredible, at all these shows. That's my brain saying every time I see it, I say, oh, that's Andy Hammond. It is a good movie.
Incredible.
Yeah, he does. No, he does. He's got the same hairdo. He has that spiked up hairdo. I love it. I tell Andy, I'm so jealous. Him and Jay Cutler, I'm so jealous of their hair. Don't you wish you had hair? Oh, you do have hair like those. I'm jealous of your hair too.
Oh.
You have good hair too.
You'll
have that till the day you die. Did you lose your hair when you did the interferon treatment?
Yeah, it started to fall out. Yeah.
You probably
got thinner, and it like my hairline got higher.
Oh, it receded
Like
a little bit?
when people it started to recede. It started to recede a decent amount, but it came back.
That's called
Otherwise,
genetics.
if it all fell out, I would have just got plugs anyway. I would have. There's no way.
Isn't that funny how some people just have great hair genetics?
Yeah, my father's got incredible hair.
Look at Jay. Jay's got great hair. I mean, nothing caused him to lose any hair. It's amazing. I'm always amazed at how some people they will not lose hair. That's why everything is genetics, really. I mean, we think that we have control of everything we do, and we really don't. We're at the mercy of our genetics. Yeah, we can influence it and stuff like that, and we can change it to some degree by environmental cues, but we really are slaves to our genetics. It's a fact. I hate to say it.
Well, you know what's so funny with genetics? I took my kids to see my first cousin, today, and he lives on a farm in Maine, and he actually raises grass-fed beef as a side job.
I love it.
Yeah, I did. I told him, I said, if you want a lot of customers, I could get you tons of customers, tons. Anyways, he comes out of the house, and he was always big and muscular. He never competed, but he was a bodybuilder. And I always thought he had great genetics. And he comes out of the house, and my kids haven't seen him in years, and they're like, God, he's huge. And I said, what have you been doing? He's doing testosterone replacement.
Oh.
But you want to talk genetics? No training. But he got his muscle back from just his test level went up. Just from
getting the cows to eat the grass and every day.
I mean, I guess he's moving some hay or whatever, lifting some hay, taking care of the animals. But he got really big. He's really wide, and he got really big. Isn't that funny? And we were just talking about genetics today, and he was saying. He was saying it's all genetics. Yeah,
Jimmy Mentis and I were talking about genetics too. Jimmy Mentis was like, "Is it hot by you too?" Because Jimmy's in like the Boca area, I think, Fort Lauderdale. I said it was fucking stifling today down here. He said I went outside to try to do some like gardening. He goes, I lasted 5 minutes and went back inside. I said, me too. Imagine if we had to survive. Imagine we had to like take care of crops and stuff like that to pay our bills.
Oh yeah.
fucking too hot.
Farm. You had to farm.
Yeah, I actually was outside. I actually have I haven't got them yet though. I'm setting up. I'm getting 3 tortoises, 3 sulcata tortoises. They live like 150 years. I gotta have to will them to someone, like to my kids or something like that, and they'll have to will them to their kids. That's how long they live. But they're little, but they grow huge. These things. So that's my newest project. And someone dropped. I don't remember if I told you that. Someone gave me, one of Amanda's friends, he wanted to get rid of it. I really wasn't into it at first, but now I kind of like it. It's a chameleon. Have you seen these chameleons?
I told you Farnsworth had one.
Oh, did I talk about this last week? Because I can't remember anything anymore. I don't remember. Did we talk about the chameleon?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Because
Forget
Farnsworth had
Forget
one.
it. I'm having a senior moment, as my dad would say.
Anyways.
What did you say about Farnsworth having the chameleon? I don't even remember.
A beautiful one. Beautiful. Like, he used to send me pictures. It would be like, 1 minute it would be like green, yellow, purple, gray, and orange. The second, 10 minutes later it'd be like, whatever, 10 different other colors.
That's exactly right. So most people feed these chameleons crickets. Now, coming from New York, to me, a cricket is a roach, right? It's like a cockroach. That's what they look like to me. So I don't skeeve them or anything like that, but I don't want cockroaches getting out. I don't want crickets getting out all over the place. And then they make the cricketing sound. So you can feed the chameleon what they call superworms. These big worms. They eventually turn into beetles, but it's the larval form of the worms. And what they do is you get them, and because I have a guy who delivers mice and rodents for my snake collection, so he brings me these superworms, and you put them in like a cat litter box with like a bunch of wheat germ and some like egg crating, and you throw produce in there. You basically can throw anything in there, and whatever crap leftover stuff you got, lettuce and broccoli and carrots and stuff like that, and whatever you feed them, actually they eat and ingest, and so you can make them more vitamin rich. They call it gut loading, and then when you feed those worms to the chameleon, they're getting the nutrition from the worms, right? I'm going to tell you something. There's got to be like a couple hundred of these things in this little setup he gave to me, and I threw like 2 pieces of broccoli, like some kale in there, and like 3 carrots. I'm like, I hope this doesn't get all yucky and it's going to stink and everything like that. I threw it in there. I left the room. The next day I came back and I went to look at it because I'm like, I'm going to pull out any stuff that's like, putrefying in there. There wasn't a trace. When I say a trace, I'm saying there was not a trace that was ever a vegetable thrown into that container. That's how completely they consumed the stuff. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
They're the greatest garbage disposals of all time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Also, in my town is raising, I read an article, chocolate-covered crickets.
They probably taste good. They're probably crunchy.
They're like little snack food.
Well, I told you they would cricket protein. Someone approached me. They wanted me to sell cricket protein. They're like, can you, your species, you should have a cricket protein. It fits right in with your MO. I said, yeah. The only problem is no one wants to eat cockroaches. I said, it could taste amazing. I said the cricket, but no one will eat it because people do not like eating insects. I said that we have a phobia against insects in this world. Although, Chris, you do have a very good crop of bedbug protein, probably that we could imagine that bedbug protein concentrate.
Yep. Do we have did I send you the audio of the guy calling me this week and he wanted the apartment? And
yeah.
What did it say? It has to have a bathroom.
Yeah. I don't know where. Yeah, I almost didn't catch it. I had to listen to it twice.
Yeah, I didn't get it. He's like, I'm looking for an apartment. An old guy. And it's like, absolutely has to have a bathroom. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking,
Chris just sent me a text message of Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon.com there, who's sitting at a desk in 1999 with like a little like banner on the wall. Looking, someone hand wrote it saying Amazon.com. Is that true? Is that a true photo of where he started?
I don't know.
I heard that Amazon finally turned a profit for the first time this year.
Yeah, I told you they've been. Yeah, it's
it's amazing how successful they were, given that they were losing money up until now.
Well, I mean, it's okay if you're losing money and if you're losing money and you're
selling tons of stock. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, if you increase the sales every quarter,
right,
exponentially, even if you're still losing money, at some time people expect you to like turn a profit.
Yeah. All right, I got a quote of the week. Everyone complains I don't do enough quotes of the week. We'll end the show with the quote of the week. Here it is. I don't know who said it. I just liked it. I saw it. Everyone thinks they're right. So the question isn't who's right or wrong. The question is who is the most in alignment with their source, and who is the most allowing, and whose life is really going the best most of the time.
Went right over my head this week.
Okay. Everyone thinks they're right. But the question isn't who is right or wrong. The question is who is the most in alignment with their source of their, who they really are. And who's the most allowing of everything that happens in life, and whose life is really going the best most of the time. So being right or wrong doesn't matter. Is your life going good, or is it going to shit? And if it's going to shit, it's probably because you're just not in alignment with who you really are and what you should be doing. So that's really being right or wrong doesn't mean a hill of beans if your life sucks, right?
There's nothing wrong with being wrong. Right. So long as you know you're wrong.
Well, it doesn't matter about right or wrong at all. It just means, do you enjoy your life? If you enjoy your life and you're doing what you like to do, then guess what? You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's it. That's the question. Because let's face it, when you're dead, who cares? You might as well enjoy life while you're here. So do what you like. Connect with who you really are. I was telling you about this guy that the Skype consult with, who got the British accent he's from where Nathan Deesha was raised. And he was telling me he had a lot of issues with nerve pain. He has spinal problems, and he stopped working. He retired early because of it. And all he does is think about this stupid. That's all he has time to do is think about his problems. But the guy was a great talker, and we were talking for an hour straight. Consult on Skype. And he's like, I don't know what to do with myself. He goes, you're so positive. I said it's obvious what you should do with yourself. Fucking YouTube generation. Go start a YouTube channel and talk about all your problems on there. All your medical issues and how you've worked around solutions to them and what you've had done and all the experimental procedures. That's the biggest thing nowadays. That's mainstream. People live in pain. You got to find what you're good at doing. This guy is good at talking. He's got problems. He's looking for solutions. And you know what? That's what people go on YouTube to basically search out. They want answers. My wife is on there because my son has like a breakout on his leg. It's all scaly. It's like a little eczema. And there's a pediatrician who has a YouTube channel, and he diagnoses all these things. People want information, and if people are depressed or suicidal or they live in pain, they're going to search out people who are like them and see what they do. So you could always do what you want to do, okay? Especially in this generation of YouTube and social media, because you don't have to ever leave your house if you don't want to. And people will actually listen to what you're saying. And you could actually make money from it because you can monetize it on YouTube. It's crazy if you think about it, right? Now I see Instagram is allowing videos that are over a minute long. Do you see that?
I did see that.
I'm sure they'll probably start monetizing those pretty soon too.
Of course they will.
Which is great. It's good for people who don't want to really have to go out and swing a hammer anymore. I have another client who's they use heavy machinery all day long, and I can't gain any weight. He's like, how do I gain weight? I'm working 8 hours a day, hard labor. And this guy's not a young guy. I said, I don't know. I said, I can't figure it out. I said, you're going to have to drink shakes all day. That's what I would do. When I used to bounce, I would drink 4 protein shakes throughout the whole night. I'd be there 8 hours. I'd drink 4 shakes.
Wake up every 2 hours and have a shake?
No, I was bouncing. So I would just go to the bartender at the beginning of the night. I'd give him my shakes. I'd say, all right, here, this is what I need made. I'm going to come over to you every 2 hours, have one of these things ready. I'm going to gulp it down in 3 seconds, and I'm going to go back to my post. You
must have loved being a bouncer.
I hated it. I hated it because it was so fucking boring. You know what I used to do? I used to practice my posing. I would stand. They always say you should practice the standing relax pose. Everyone tells you this. Stand in front of the TV for 20 minutes straight and do it, right? Who the hell has time to do that? No one does it. Except the ultra neurotic people. Maybe Milos does it. So when I would bounce, I would see how long I could stand in the standing relax pose. Like up here with my lats flared, legs tensed, Because it's dark. No one sees what you're doing out there. And I'm just standing around twiddling my thumbs for freaking whatever
You just
how many
can't wait
hours.
to get it into the gym.
Yeah, I just did it because I needed money, but I hated bouncing because I really didn't like to fight, and I felt bad for people. And most of the people are drunk and they're young kids, and I'm like, I didn't want to have to beat people up or anything like that. Some of these guys loved it. There's a lot of bouncers that are fucking psychotic lunatics that like fucking fighting.
Of course.
I didn't want to get hurt. I remember I had a bounce. They wouldn't let me off work. I got arthroscopic surgery on my shoulder one year. And I was back bouncing like 2 days later, and I'm like, I can't use this shoulder. I'm gonna fuck it up. And there was fights, and I was going there with like one arm and pushing people out of the way with the good arm. I'm like, don't get hurt, whatever you do. At some point, eventually, I started making enough money. I stopped bouncing. I was just like, fuck, this is crazy. I'm gonna wind up getting stabbed or something like that.
What was your pay as a bouncer? What was your pay as a bouncer?
About $100 a night, which was good, I think, back then. When you're first starting out, you're like, in your early 20s, $100 for the day is fucking phenomenal. And this was back in the 90s, I would bounce 2 nights a week. I'd make an extra $200. I was training people at Bally's. I was probably making about $300-400 there a week. I wasn't training a million people, so I was making $600 a week. Which was good. That was paying my bills. I moved back with my dad, and that's how I started. For about 2 years I did that, and like I said, I was able to really live the bodybuilding lifestyle, so to speak, like that. And I was a hard worker. I would do anything to make money. I was a hustler back then. And I would eat tuna and rice every meal. I would try, you do the poverty meals, as my dad would say it.
Eat the white tuna or the brown tuna?
No, I couldn't stomach the chunk light tuna. I would get the albacore. I'd spend a few extra bucks. They would have these sales at the supermarket where it would be like 99 cents a can. And literally, I would go in there and I would buy everything they had. I'd buy 100 cans. It'd be good. I'd get 100 cans. Because I was eating like 5 of them a day, sometimes,
Do bodybuilders even eat tuna anymore?
I
always
know.
bought tuna in college because it costs nothing.
Yeah, it's cheap. You probably did the chunk light if I know you.
I did. I cheaped out for the chunk light tuna.
Well,
but I had a recipe. I had a recipe to kill.
Did you put a little sweet and low in it? Is that what Bob Grushin was?
I used to take the chunk light tuna.
Right.
And I used to mix it in with puffed wheat cereal and salt and pepper and egg whites, and then I'd make a mega giant low carb patty out of it.
Oh my god, that's pretty. It probably tastes good, I bet you.
Yeah, or I'd make I'd add Mrs. Dash, some salt, an egg white, and like a tablespoon of pancake mix, and grill it into like a burger.
Wow, that's very creative. It's funny because you could always tell when someone's using Mrs. Dash because there's so much garlic in there because there's no salt, right? Yeah. You can smell them a while away. Oh, you're dying.
I used to stink.
I can't. I'm not allowed to eat garlic. I'm not allowed to be in the house anymore. If I eat garlic, I'm not allowed. Sometimes I make a mistake. I don't even know there's garlic in something, and then I get yelled at because I smell like garlic. Because
you can use Febreze and just douse the house.
No, here's the problem. I'm like a big poured, greasy Italian by nature. So Italians, not just Italians, but Greeks are like this too. But the greasy Italians and Greeks, we release all the toxins through our pores. So when you eat like garlic or onions, right, you just stink. It just comes out of you. It emanates from your soul almost. There's no hiding it. You can't cover it up. You can shower. You can perfume it. It doesn't go away until it comes out.
It's true.
I know it's true. I remember once in high school, right before I graduated, my crazy friend Michael Popkin talked me into going to this party, with all the jocks, and they had a drinking contest there. I don't know how I got into it. My friend Scott Wharton and I got into this drinking contest with 2 football players. We never drank. We didn't drink. But I had this ability to swallow, enormous amounts of fluid. I still do it. That's how I used to swallow my protein shakes. I just gulp them down. And I had literally 24 beers. I outdrank the football team. Okay, I was notorious after that. It was one time, but I went home. I had to have someone drive me home because I was that drunk. And I went to bed. They put me in my bed. I don't remember them even putting me in bed. I woke up the next morning, 12 hours later. I was still drunk. I didn't have a hangover. I was still drunk. And I thought I had done something very serious to my body. Obviously, I drank so much alcohol that I couldn't even metabolize it in 12 hours. Well,
Sure.
so I'm like, Dad, I fucked up. I'm like, I feel terrible. I'm still drunk. I think I killed myself. So my dad, being the alcoholic that he was, not really alcoholic, but the drinker that he was, he knew the symptoms. He's like, all right, you got to sweat it out. I said, sweat it out. I said, that sounds like some kind of old cockamamie.
Yeah.
He's like, Italians can sweat anything out. He told me. I said, so listen to this. My dad was very with it. He made me drink like an Alka-Seltzer because he obviously had done this himself before. He had me drink an Alka-Seltzer, which definitely settled my stomach. And then he had me go outside, and we went in front of my house, and he had me doing sprints up and down this block, up and back. He's like, one more. I'd never seen my dad ever be like a taskmaster like that. He's like, do another one. Back and forth. I'll time you. And and I was sweating my ass off because it was so hot outside. And sure enough, within probably like 20 minutes, I completely felt normal, and I was fine. I said, how did you know that would work? He's like, unfortunately, I've done it myself a few times. He's like, don't fucking be stupid anymore. He's like, I probably could have killed myself, but luckily in my body, the Palumbos can sweat out alcohol, just like we could sweat out garlic and onions.
I never remember my father having a cold or being sick. You know why? Whenever he would get the beginning of like a flu ever,
right. He would drink
or sick. No, he'd go to the Y. Wait, better. He'd take a bottle of wine, go drink, and then he'd go sit in the sauna at the Y for like hours.
That's so funny.
And sweat it out.
That's the old Italian way of doing it. You know what? The funny thing was, when I would drink, the very few times I ever had, I wasn't a big drinker. Especially when I was a bodybuilder, I very rarely drank. But when I would drink, it was like any acne that I might have on my skin would disappear. I think the alcohol would come out of my pores at such high concentrations that it would kill everything. It was like an internal disinfectant almost in my body. It was like completely cleaned me out. My skin would be like crystal clear. People would be like, wow, you look good. Your skin looks good today. I'm like, yeah, I drank too much last night. I'm not endorsing that. Don't go out drinking if you're bodybuilder. It's terrible for muscle building, but once in a while, you can let loose. All right, Chris. There's a lot. I thought we had nothing to talk about, but we were doing a lot of chatting today. There was some interesting videos that I did do this past week. I did a video on preventing hair loss. You might want to check that out on the site.
Oh, that's why it was fresh on your mind. The
Yeah,
Jay Cutler.
that's true. I did a video on have you ever seen that the White House chef Andre Rush? This guy's got like 24-inch arms, bench presses 700 pounds.
No, never seen him.
He was in the military. You go watch the video I did on him. He's in his 40s. This guy's 45 years old. He's huge, and he claims he can bench press raw 700 pounds. I believe it. Because it's not a...
Boston Lloyd didn't sell him anything, did he?
He says he's natural, too. But that could be so that he doesn't lose his White House job. But
Yeah.
Trump wouldn't care anyway.
No, of course not.
But he served like 4 presidents or something like that, this guy.
Wow.
So,
You should have him on the show.
I know. I got to reach
He
out
won't
to
come
him.
on. Right, you'll ask him a question about anabolics.
I won't. I could care less. I believe it. He's like a Ronnie Coleman. The fucking guy probably is natural. I'm telling you, he's not like he's ripped or anything like that. He's just big, and stocky. He's like Mark Henry. You know Mark Henry?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like a physique like his. Just think about Ronnie when Ronnie was natural. If Ronnie would have been like 30 pounds heavier, because Ronnie was ripped when he was natural. If he was like fat, big, he would have looked enormous too. People would have definitely thought he was on gear.
Oh yeah.
People thought he was on gear, I myself included, when he won the World Amateur Championships. If you look at those pictures, you would bet your life that he was on gear. That's how good he was, and he wasn't. He wasn't, because Ronnie's not afraid to tell the truth. I mean, he just wasn't taking anything. He didn't know about it. He didn't need it. Really, is really what it amounted to. I also did a video on thyroid hormone, because a lot of people always think that when you take growth hormone that you need to take thyroid hormone, and that's not true. So you might want to check that out.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
And of course, the Kai Greene video I did. We talked about that a little earlier. And someone asked me a question on Ask Dave this past week on why did Nasser die so young. I talked about that also. That was an interesting topic. So I did a lot of rants this past week because we didn't have that many guests on the show. People seem to like the rants better. I was in a ranting mood. We'll see. We'll see how I feel this week. But, Chris, that's it. We're out of time. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
The truth hurts.
good night, everyone.